Hello there, you're watching The Pulse on the Joy News channel this afternoon. On The Pulse, wet yet not perturbed. The posture of protesters who have converged at the 37 military hospital here in Accra for day 2 of the Occupy Jullobi House protest, defying heavy rains, and we're getting live pictures as you see on the screens right now. We'll also be getting you some updates and excerpts of what transpired on day 2 of this protest. We'll get you the very latest, plus hear from our reporters on what's happening on the ground. Also, 2020 running mate of the National Democratic Congress, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, out and speaking about the intense jostling within the party for a possible replacement of herself as the next running mate of the NDC. We'll hear from Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, who is describing it as distractful and unhelpful debates that are taking place within the party when it comes to conversations around finding a possible replacement for a running mate for John Mahama going into the 2024 elections.
Oh, they forget about this. Use this unhelpful or controversy. There's no controversy. I was in the ministry and I complimented his efforts. Or I wasn't. So why are you posing that question?
Very latest coming through from the camp of the NDC on that for you. It's all coming up here on The Pulse. The Pulse, as always, is brought to you by Global Communities Digni Lu Affordable Safe Sanitation. Don't forget that we're on Facebook, YouTube, and also at myjoyonline.com. We'll get you the very latest. We're on DSTV channel 421, GoTV channel 125, and we'll bring you all of the action happening as we speak at the 37 military hospital. I am Blessed Suga, and of course, welcome to The Pulse. We'll get you the details shortly. And of course, yesterday they were picked up by the police service, but they are defying that and also defying the rains today just to assemble here in Accra for day 2 of the Occupy Jullobi House, as they are calling it, a movement, of course, of some individuals led by Oliver Barker-Vormawor on the streets now as part of that 3-day tour or exercise, which is targeted at mounting pressure on President Akufo-Addo to deal with the challenges confronting the nation. Well, we can get the very latest on that from Maxwell Agbuba, who's on the grounds for us. Maxwell?
Protesters, some of them from Fex, the country, who are here sitting right in the middle of the road, protesting against what they describe as high-level corruption in the country, mismanagement of the economy, and unemployment, forcing young people to flee the country. They have been here for the past 3 hours, and this protest, we're told, will go on deep into the night. They tell us that it's supposed to be a 3-day protest, and this is unprecedented. They had wanted to go to the Jubilee House, the seat of government, but they were prevented by these police officers, all of them in route control gear. What is interesting, however, is that I've not seen any of the police officers here holding any weapon. But what I can see from where I'm standing are the body cams that have been carefully fitted, on their uniform, and some of them on the vest that they are wearing. You remember that there were concerns yesterday about allegations of police brutalities. My sources within the Ghana Police Service tell me that this is supposed to help the police keep evidence of whatever that happens when it comes to handling of the protesters. But you can see these metallic barricades are also here. A number of policemen are also in the background, a lot of buses, packed here. On the other side of the road, traffic is building on the other side of the road. Many have expressed concern that during the rush hour, the situation, what is happening here could exacerbate, the traffic situation in the country, especially because in the capital, especially also because it is Friday. What is happening here? The protesters are taking turns to address the people who have gathered here, raising their own concerns about why they decided to join this protest. Let's get inside and then speak to the convener, Oliver Balka, who's been here for hours. Let's speak to him. Oliver, welcome to join us.
Yeah, thank you.
We've been here for the past 3 hours. 3 hours getting to 4 hours. Tell us, how is it going so far?
To be honest, this is one of the most invigorating, beautiful scenes and mobilizations I've ever been part of. Just seeing people speak their truth, people express themselves from all kinds of sexual orientations, religious backgrounds, ethnic backgrounds. This is the Ghana I want to see, a rainbow nation that accepts everybody and makes the best out of them. This is what it's all about.
I've seen something different today, different from what we saw yesterday. You've seen the police officers, all of them in riot control gear. You see their body cams, none of them holding any weapon. What do you make of what you've seen so far from the police?
Well, the people...
You've been critical of them in the past.
Yes, I've been critical. Let us remind ourselves, the fact that we are occupying this space and making the best out of it doesn't mean that our rights are still not being violated. The idea was to occupy Julobi House. We are not there. We have decided that we are not going to confront them.
Okay.
We are civilized people, unlike the kind of lack of civility that we demonstrated yesterday. So I don't see why, even when the police are depressed, are taking our rights away, we must all perform some applause of them. I'm not going to participate in that charade.
Okay.
But even their presence here is still violence upon us because they're restricting our rights.
Okay.
But as long as we are here, we're going to make the most out of what our democracy allows us to do.
Okay. So the goal is actually to occupy the streets.
To occupy the forefront of Jubilant. Yes, we're not there yet.
So how long is this going to continue? You've been doing this for hours now.
Well, we gave the police notice for a 3-day continuous event.
Okay.
So we are continuing till tomorrow, till 9 p.m. when we told them it ends.
So you're going to continue this till 9 p.m. tomorrow?
Yes.
Wow. Are you not going to be tired?
Of course we're going to be tired. Of course we are. But this is about the resolve of a people that would not be defeated. We are continuing to invite all those other people who are at home today, who understand the value of what we are doing, to come and replenish our ranks, to allow those who are tired to go home, so that new people will come and keep the space going. That's what it's about.
Finally, do you anticipate any force from the police?
I have come to, in living in a country that promises democracy on paper but never delivers it, I've come to anticipate everything that this democracy has offered me. So yes, as long as we continue to have an indisciplined police force that has no respect for people's individual rights, that the police mantra when it comes to individual human rights is that violates it, nothing can happen. Anything can happen. We do not know what they will do even as the night progresses. So we'll continue to be here and we'll see what they do.
For people who do not know what this whole protest is about, in summary, what exactly are you protesting against?
One of the reasons why we have kept an open mic going is so that people individually can speak to their reasons for coming out to speak out. For me as a person, I think that we have lost the essence of what it is to be a country. We have lost the soul of this country. There's so much decay around us that we have normalized. I want a awakening of conscience that we cannot continue to live like this. This is why I am out. So many people have come out. People have spoken about how their parents have died from lack of birth syndrome. All things that we have accepted. That when you speak up, they'll tell you it happened at the NDC, so shut up. It's happening. It's always been the case with us. We cannot continue to accept that mediocrity. That's why I am out.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for talking to us. You just had convener for Fix the Country, Oliver Barker-Vormawor. I'll be talking to you shortly. But you can see lawyer Martin Kpebu now addressing the crowd, and that's what we've seen here today, the variety and the background of the people who've been taking turns to address the protesters, quite different from what we've seen in the past. I have a public health advocate, some hours ago, she addressed the people here. Anita Asamoah's mother died because she didn't get oxygen at the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital, and that has motivated her to take part in today's protest, and she's been addressing the crowd here. tell us again why you decided to take part in this protest.
Okay, so I narrated my experience, my personal experience in Korle Bu when my mom was sick. Why? Because as at the points when she was almost giving up, she needed oxygen, and the oxygen point was only one, and there was someone on it already, and there were 3 other patients who also needed it. So definitely, my mom actually passed, the other person was on it, and the other woman or patient also died. So and our leaders access quality healthcare outside. They go for checkups and then they come back. While the common people, we are here, our women go to the hospitals, they give bed on the floor, there are no beds. When you take your aged parents to the hospital, they are not covered on the NHIS. You get the point. So it is a problem, and that is why I am here. Yeah.
You've also been talking about illegal mining.
Yes, I mentioned illegal mining because you see, there are poisoning going on with our water bodies. The color is changing, and there is poisoning, lead poisoning, arsenic. When all those elements, when taken into the body, can deform a child or a fetus. So when the woman gives birth, that means the child could be deformed. This is a problem because also our system doesn't even have what it takes for disabled people, for disabled people to able to function, because our roads are not like that. So it is a problem, and I think it is something the government should look into. But these same leaders are into illegal mining. I mean, you know that. So it is a problem. Yeah.
I'm proud. Thank you very much for talking to us. So you just heard from Anita Samoa. Anita is a public health advocate. She was one of the people who addressed the crowd here, and that's what they've been doing for the past 5 hours. They tell us that they're going to continue deep into the night. You heard from the convener of Fix the Country. He says they're going to end at 9 p.m. tomorrow. And the crowd and the protesters are expected to be here till 9 p.m. tomorrow. Let's talk to lawyer Martin Kwebu, who just finished addressing the crowd.
The Christian Council, they should all be ashamed of themselves.
We are telling them to rise up.
What kind of rubbish is this?
Council, the Catholic Bishops Conference.
I'm a Catholic.
As well.
The entire Catholic bishops should be ashamed of themselves. And why are they not arresting today? They should all be ashamed of themselves.
I want to go 50 meters, please.
We should get there.
Way. 50 meters. That's where we want to go.
The government that protested while in opposition. They occupy the government house. Are you guys not aware? The government, this particular president, is known to be a serious demonstrator. You guys should be ashamed of yourselves for the arrest that you guys did yesterday.
Hi, what's your name?
My name is Killian. Yeah.
Okay, why are you protesting today?
Why am I protesting today? Are you happy about what is happening in this country? You're happy about what's happening in this country?
Talk to me.
You don't know that Akufo-Addo has sold the destiny of this country. A supposedly human rights lawyer who is now a president is actually stopping demonstrators, and you guys are happy. And you're asking me this Jim Akla question.
No, I'm an elder. If you wait, hold on. I'm an elder. If you say Jim Akla, you have to retract. No, you retract. No, I'm not going to. No, if you don't retract, you're not continuing. No, if you don't retract, I'm not going to continue. No. I'm an elder too. Jim Akla is an insult. Jim Akla is an insult. Let's be civil. Retract. No, retract. No, sorry, retract.
Okay, so I retract. But again, the president is managing the country like a Jim Akla way of thinking.
Hey, no, I beg. No. Don't use Jim Akla. He's the president.
No, listen.
No, I beg. Don't use Jim Akla. He's the president.
And you guys are watching these guys arresting demonstrators, including your own journalists. And you guys are happy. Anyway, I'm aware some of you are under the brand envelope of Gabi Ochirijaku. Every month you guys go there.
These are things you cannot substantiate. Let me speak to Council Martin Kwebu. He just finished addressing the crowd here. Well, it's drizzling right now. It's drizzling, and I've not seen any signs of the protesters moving. It's not drizzling. It's actually raining right now. Let me speak to lawyer
calling the
Martin
people to be here because a lot of people are still afraid.
Council,
We've been here for almost 4 hours now, and nothing is happening. We are calling everybody to come here.
Yes, so number one, to applaud them for their courage. Number one, to applaud our citizens for their courage, for stepping out today. You know, yesterday with the arrest that the police carried out, it has scared a lot of our fellow citizens, and so the citizens, should I start? Should I? Yeah, so it appears a lot of our citizens are scared, and so that's why they are not here. So it's to encourage citizens to step out, encourage citizens to come. They should come, because this is the place we need to step, and then to point out to Akufo-Addo that we don't support his corruption. We don't support the corruption in the Akufo-Addo's government. Then number two, we are calling on the Akufo-Addo and Bawumia to resign, because they have caused us too much hardship. The corruption they put us into is causing us too much hardship. So if they resign, the Constitution in Article 60 Clause 13 says that we must have elections within 3 months. When the president and the vice president resign, we must have elections within 3 months. So that is why we are calling upon President Akufo-Addo and Bawumia to resign. Then we can have elections within 3 months. Then we have a new president. Enough of the corruption. Enough of the nepotism. Enough of the cronyism. Enough is enough.
Well, you can see what is happening. It's raining heavily here at the 37 Military Hospital. In fact, in parts of Accra right now, the protesters are not moving an inch. They are not deterred by the rain. The police officers are also not ready to move out of this rain. You can see them still positioned. Some of them getting their raincoats there. In fact, the rain has actually sort of gingered the protesters. You can see what is happening there. It's an open music and dance session for them. Let's speak to more people who. Hi. Why are you taking part in this protest?
Charlie, my name is Adam Binded. I'm taking part of this because I'm a Ghanaian. You see, I'm a young boy I'm actually just out of the university. I've just finished my national service, or I'm in the process of finishing. I can tell you for a fact that since I started doing my national service, well, God being so good for me, I got a good place to do it. But I know colleagues who cannot even buy like Charlie 3 square meals a day. See, I'm 25 years. If you look at the number of people around me who are older, who don't have a job, and the qualifications they have, you realize that the problems that plague this country, they are very small. See, Max, do the math. Do you know that as I speak to you, Max, this year, National Service has celebrated an event for people who died in service. National Service, by the end of this month, is celebrating 50 years of the National Service. I'm asking you a question. Do you know the last time National Service people were paid in this country? For the past 3 months, they've not been paid. The National Service people here, ask them.
Okay. We're getting drenched by the rain right now, but like you can see, the singing and dancing is continuing. It is actually intensified after it started raining. A lot of people are drenched right. Hey, what's your name? It's raining. Chill.
Colleague Maxwell Agbagba, who's just giving us the very latest there from 37. It is actually raining, and of course you can see there that the demonstrators are defying all odds. Of course, some strong messages there being sent to the Ghana Police Service and also authorities as the protesters may be making yet another attempt to move an inch closer to the Jubilee House. We'll keep monitoring developments for you, even as it's pouring now. We still know that protest is underway. I want to bring in Richard Kumado, who's a security consultant, joining us via Zoom now, monitoring also alongside with us and picking notes of some of the developments there. Richard, thank you for spending some time with us. But what we found right now shows a very defiant crowd and a resilient group of people who are just bent on sending their message across to the president. Some say they should tone down on the kind of rhetoric we're seeing. But I don't know what your thoughts are on what you're seeing so far.
I will agree the insult should be taken up. They should just stick to their grounds and make their points. I'm also happy today because Dan Parry took time off to meet the demonstrators, particularly the leaders. It has calmed down things a little bit. I think yesterday was a mess, and the police have learned their lessons from yesterday. Demonstrations are part of the rights of the people. They may disagree on the route and the days and the modalities, but violent demonstrations we haven't seen in this country for a long time. It is the police rather that has become a lawless society, and they have become a danger unto themselves. So today, Dan Parry has proved again that when he put his feet down, the right things to be done, and we will see a 21st century professional police officers doing the policing work. And kudos to all the police officers today.
The feeling is that the Ghana Police Service may be complicit in what we're seeing today, further radicalizing a group of young people who were just out there to protest, actually, yesterday.
Blazer, if you remember when my brother Bamahor started this whole thing, some of us spoke and said the approach the police have taken and their stance will be making him a bit more popular and will be making him a bit more entrenched. And today they are finding difficulties containing him. The police approach towards Bamahor and the things he stood for has been misconstrued, and the police made him a little bit more hardened. And when you have more hardened people follow him on street demonstrations, people like Bernard Mona has been demonstrating since I was born. And it's just like he's taken over from Kwesi Pratt. And the videos and the trends are there for the police to learn from. But some of these police officers throw caution into the wind. And today they are having a difficulties containing the likes of him. Today is a good day for the police service. I commend them. I commend Dan Parry. And I think they should stand their grounds, engage the demonstrators, and they wouldn't have many of the troubles they had yesterday.
Now we're seeing the police also taking another approach. They have virtually cordoned off the entire 37 stretch and allowing the protesters to at least, they're some way somehow close to the Jubilee House, except to say that the ultimate aim is to get eventually to the precincts, or at least in front of that state security facility. What do you think about such considerations? The fact that, well, the protest has gone on peacefully, smoothly so far, assessing the risk and the threats, they could be allowed to at least inch closer to the Jubilee House. Protests by close of day tomorrow, we're all done. How about that?
If I'm leading a team of law enforcement officers, as I have done in the past with the BNI, I would have coordinated the law enforcement officers that will hold up the demonstrators at the Revolutionary Circle. You know, the Revolutionary Circle is direct opposite the mainstream gate of the Flagstaff House.
Precisely.
And what would they do? It is raining, the music will be on, people will have their normal jama, they will make their voices heard. Let me call my strong person in Joy FM, call the strong person in TV3, call the strong person in Metro TV. Let them grant the necessary interviews. Once the interviews are being heard and they are being the demonstrators who come to the term that our message has gone and the message has been proclaimed.
Yeah, and Richard,
that will be the end of
Richard, what we see on the screens right now is the real-time situation as we speak. The downpour is on, but you see the crowd still out there in the rains, continuing with the protest.
It is the psychology of law enforcement and professional law enforcement that has gone wrong yesterday. These guys are not prepared again because they know the police may come after them any day, any time, and they are ready with their lawyers. I think that allowing them to even get closer to the entrance of the Jubilee House will not create any problem for this country. These people are people we can quickly assess their background and know the threat they may pose. Having watched them from very far for all these years, I don't see any element of a dangerous, treacherous person among this crowd, and holding them out at Christ the King or the Revolutionary Circle direct opposite the Jubilee House wouldn't have created any problem. After all, when people jubilated and demonstrated into the seat of government, the threat of overthrowing a government of uprising was still there, and but civility prevailed. The people were happy with themselves that their voices were heard, and that was proper way of managing these things in a democratic state where rule of law, maintaining of law and order is a priority. I think the police got it wrong yesterday, and today civility has come home, and we applauded them that they are doing the right thing in the lives of law enforcement and policing and democracy, where the right of demonstration is one of the key things that happen.
There are concerns as to the essence, so I mean, eventually where this whole movement to fix the country might end as concerns about the possible implications on national security. Where do you stand in all of this?
Definitely, when you go to National Security Council, they are what we call national security red flags or indicators. That is why we warn them. We are making this guy, Bomaha, more popular. He will create problems for you. Having said that, the police have enough numbers, the BNI have enough numbers, the military have enough numbers to take care of our internal threats and risk assessment to that matter. I don't think these demonstrations by themselves pose any national security threat. It is the outcome of these demonstrations and the behavior of law enforcement officers that may create serious public safety guarantee issues for us. Then you can extend it to national security and sovereignty guarantees. To the extent that you went arresting BBC journalists, do you know what you are doing? You are creating the platform where the international media comes in. People are going to look at us and say, what is happening in Ghana? And they want to come with their hard-heartedness. There's a way to soften the ground. And I think Dan Parry, as a person, and together with national security officers, they have what it takes to soften the ground. And once they begin to soften grounds, we're not going to escape the preliminary elements of people jamming our public space. We will curtail whatever comes with it, and Ghana will move on again.
I see. We need to point out that for those of you who are now joining us, members of the Fix the Country movement, still defiant out there in spite of the downpour, as you see on your screens right now, and still continuing with that protest. We're still monitoring every bit of developments there, and we'll bring you updates. But what you see now is right in front of the 37 military hospital, and you have scores of protesters defying the rains, coming out in their numbers, pouring out onto the streets and mounting pressure on President Akufo-Addo to address some of the concerns confronting the youth and also issues they believe he needs to address as part of his tenure. But also the police service there stationed, and they have successfully cordoned off the hospital area. So for those of you who might be moving back from work now, there might be disruptions also in traffic arrangements for that, Liberation stretch or the 37 Independence Avenue, as you're seeing on the screens right now. But also, we'll talk about where this is happening now and possibly what the dangers might be. But let's start off by looking at what the president may be thinking right now. Richard, are we sure that indeed the president is listening, and what's your expectation from him?
Now, I think he missed the opportunity several times. This is what makes President Rawlings and Kwame Nkrumah, Paul Kagame, and Barack Obama, Tony Blair, many of the great guys you see, the Clintons, the superstars of national leaders and with global stature. I think he missed the opportunity many times, and he will need to take opportunity one of these days to address these people. I don't think the likes of Kwesi Pratt watching him and listening to him and see the behavior of some of his people in the days where people are demonstrating will be happening at all, considering the fact that he has a long history of demonstrating against things they perceive or they feel were not being done right. Having said that, this whole euphoria and the fidgeting of law enforcement officers is even very shocking. People want to demonstrate on the 37 road. You said that Jubilee House is a national security zone and you kept them at 37. Then you lack the understanding why the British built the 37 military hospital. 37 military hospital is the 37th one they have built as a military base to take care of sicknesses and diseases of military officers until we turn it into a civilian occupation. You can still allow demonstration, create one lane for the demonstrators and let vehicles take care of the other one. Once you have called off the place, you are even angering the people, creating anger in the minds and hearts of people who have nothing to do with this demonstration. And this is why we have been trained as law enforcement officers to take care of situations such as this. I don't know where this euphoria and the agitations and the flirting around comes to policing and the 21st policing. That is why people are pointing fingers at the president, that during his tenure, demonstrations have become a taboo and people going into the street are not being allowed. And I think he needs to rise above this euphoria and this rhetoric of narratives that come from the offices of the president that is not right. He's far away in the UN, and the UN, that is a security zone, a very serious place. People are demonstrating there against the president. Which of these two will you prefer? The people demonstrating against the president in the offices of the UN, or people demonstrating in the streets of 37? I think we will need to look at this conjecture and begin to find a meaningful balance that places our democracy above personalities. And that also gives us the flexibility that citizens and their presidents can have a discussion that will not lead to violence, or that may not crack the whip, and that may not create problems for our national sovereignty. But Blessed, I can tell you from where I sit, and from monitoring it for a very long time, I don't think the president has taken the opportunity, many of them granted to him. And it will be time for him to look back again and say, I needed to come to the forefront, and I needed to speak to these people, speak to the issues. His narrations must change as we proceed 2024 election.
Well, I guess so. He needs to get really busy once he's, returning from the United Nations General Assembly, and he's spoken extensively about issues confronting the West Africa sub-region and the security concerns also emerging. But for those of you who are now watching us, and for those of you also who may not be aware of what's been happening over the past 24 hours, the Fix the Country movement, after they were picked up last night, today, most of their leading figures are out and are back on the streets, as you see, demonstrating right in front of the 37 military hospital as part of the protest. In fact, this is just a portion of what we're to expect from the group, because the group says its ultimate aim is to inch closer and closer to Jubilee House, try and register their concerns about the style of leadership of President Akufo-Addo, and to raise some concerns about how his tenure has been so far. And the reason for which we're seeing all of these people, even as it is raining now, defying the rains and pouring out in their numbers to make a case to government. But even as we speak, you were talking about where this protest is happening and possibly what other problems, associated problems we might be creating as we have these protesters standing in the rain right in front of a hospital, a referral facility for that matter, of course, and we'll be getting the thoughts of Richard Kumado shortly on that. But on your screens right now is, right in front of the 37 military hospital, scores of protesters, those who are even bypassers, some of them, we understand, now joining in and, taking part in this 3-day mass movement where the protesters intend to sleep over on that stretch, as you see, till the following day, 9 p.m. tomorrow is when we expect that protest to end. We don't know what the implications might be, but we're still monitoring the space, and we'll bring you up to speed with all that we've been hearing so far. Earlier today, we had some musicians, some celebrities, and others also joining the event. We'll be hearing from some of them shortly, the likes of EL and some musicians who've also turned up to support the process. We'll listen to them now and get their reactions to why they're, being a part of this protest.
That all of us were taken to the Accra Regional, Greater Accra Regional Command, put into a room, and 17 individuals, plainclothes individuals, who were wearing all kinds of earrings, who had dyed their hair in all kinds of different manners. Others dressed in shorts, in boxer shorts, were thrown into the room and locked on us, and they proceeded to beat us. I do not understand how these individuals who were calling themselves intelligence officers were brought in to beat us. That has to be explained to me. So all the PR and all the crying before committees of parliament, that PR that sustained the police service, we must break that PR down. And for me, this is one of the things I have to say. The Ghana Police Service is less than 40,000 men across board. And these 40,000 people go to training. We train them at public expense. If we cannot ensure discipline with 40,000 people, we have failed the entire country. That is what leadership must be shown at. And this is what we're asking for.
You said earlier on, you said Kennedy Dapaah said over his dead body, would you be allowed to protest in the country?
Yes, Kennedy Dapaah, who is Minister of National Security, has made it clear to me that over his dead body, we're going to be allowed to protest. And it's not surprising to me that a few months later I was charged and I'm being tried for treason. I think that this government has every intention, and they mean their words, that they are going to depress and going to make sure that they make an example out of me. But we're going to continue to fight. And whatever they want to do, they can continue to do it. But But we must show up, because when abuse of power is loudest, citizens must speak up even more. That's why we are here.
And the went as far as offering you $1 million to back down.
They went as far as offering us $1 million. They offered us a committee to set up a committee, appoint us to government positions in order to stop this activism. This was made directly to me and other leaders of Fix the Country. This will be refused. Now, this conversation was had at the time with the National Minister of National Security, the Minister of Finance, and a Brigadier General of the Ghana Armed Forces at the Safe House at Cantonment. These are information that are verifiable. We recorded that conversation. If people recall,
do you say those are the people who are making the offer?
The people who made the offer on that day. If people will recall, when I came out of jail, I had made an announcement that I was going to disclose the details of a secret meeting that had taken place and some of the things that were said to us. And later I had received several calls from people in this country and refused to disclose those. This information is not something I'm lying about. I can release to you information and calls that the Minister of National Security himself called me while I was in the UK, inviting me to come down to Ghana and at public expense. And I rejected it and paid for my own ticket and flew down to Ghana. And so for me, I know and I've always known that, and there's nothing that I'm saying here that will surprise anybody or shock anybody, that we know that they have taken every kind of attempt through monetary compulsions, through violence in order to stop what we are doing. But we'll continue to build, and we are demanding that if citizens really cherish this democracy and are interested in the future of this country, then they'll show up and stare down power.
And I'm interested in the treatment you have described. Does that suggest that you are taking the Ghana Police Service on?
Well, for us, we are showing up today. To remind everybody, when I was first arrested at the airport, I was tortured by individuals who were wearing armed forces fatigue and thrown and blindfolded and taken out of Accra. We sued the Ghana Police Service and Attorney General and the Tema High Court. The individual judge before whom we sued, that Ankoma, has been promoted to the Court of Appeal. That case has not gone anywhere for over a year. In their response to the application we filed, the Ghana Police Service admitted planting an individual who was furnished with a phone, a knife, and bread in the cells. These are all public record. The Fourth Estate has reported on this. Nothing has happened there.
I thought you would be with Justice for Ghana at the Electoral Commission headquarters.
Yes, but they are not mutually exclusive. These are actions that afflict each one of us. And so I have been doing a series of media engagement. As you can see, I'm not costumed for the protest. And so when I leave here, we are to have a meeting with the IGP upon what happened yesterday.
Say you, which group?
That is Democracy Hub, led by Bakavomawo. They yesterday were arrested unjustly. And so later in the evening, the Inspector General of Police called. And he actually called me, and I told him that despite that, I am not an organizer of the Democracy Hub. I sympathize with the cause. I agree in total with whatever they are doing. I was to join them later in the day because in the morning I had spoken to Bakavomawo to even alert him about the police presence around the Jubilee House and around the 37th station. And whilst they were coming here, I was at the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park, only to be told that they were arrested. So I went looking for them in their various cells, and eventually I got to know where each one of them was put. Later in the evening, when the Inspector General of Police called, he said that he was going to instruct for the release of all those people. And indeed, in the evening, everyone was released. This morning, they are gathered here. It is the IGP's call that he wanted to meet with some of the organizers. So they will select a few to go and meet with the IGP. And then we'll see what the IGP himself has, because his men did what was untoward yesterday. We cannot tolerate such happenings from our police service. Look, it's a police service and not a force. So when they decide to use force against innocent citizens, standing here, what disruptions are this crowd occasioned? They have not done anything. Yesterday, your own colleagues were brutalized. And you ask yourself, what is it? If the police doesn't have the logistics to protect the crowd, but they have logistics to disrupt the crowd and to arrest them, how much they spent yesterday engaging in that exercise is unacceptable. And I think that, well, once the IGP has called, there is a saying in our local parlance that you don't reject a call, but you can reject the content of the call. So I think that it's fair and proper that we have that discussion, and then we can take it up. But citizens' right cannot and we will not allow any oppressor to undermine our democratic efforts.
Just a few minutes ago, before you arrived, we engaged with Oliver, and he is of the view that he's got no engagement with the police. And I mean, I'm just interested if you've been able to reach a consensus with him, and he agrees that you should go ahead to meet the IGP.
Oh no, yesterday I was one of the people who had to go around to ensure that all those our comrades who were incarcerated were unjustly released. And so I think if Oliver cannot go, that is a right. But some ones of them should let us go and listen to the call.
When is the meeting happening?
Oh, anytime that we are able to arrive at the number of people that we can go. So I've spoken to Oliver. He is not opposed to people representing him, but I think that he wants to be here to continue to be the fulcrum around which this mobilization can take place, and I cannot take that from him.
Are you going as a group of protesters, or you are going as conveners?
Well, it will be partly conveners, because there must be a convener, and then they will come back. Whatever the outcome, we will let the society know.
And so you are hopeful that today, are you just going to be stationed here, or you are hopeful to to go on a procession to the Jubilee House?
Even staying here alone is sufficient to send a message. You are here, isn't it? The fact that you are here and you are carrying the report of the unhappiness of citizens about the shoddy things that are happening in Ghana. Journalists, your own colleagues were beaten yesterday. The police are denying it. Right? Bridget Otu, they torn her cloth. Somebody had to give the Ghana flag that he was carrying to order to protect her body from exposure. One of your colleagues from City FM working with BBC was assaulted mercilessly. A lawyer who had come and seek the release of clients was pushed into cells. This is not what we bargained for. This is not what we bargained for. Akufo-Addo is only president of Ghana today. Akufo-Addo will go. But this country of us, we will be living here with Akufo-Addo and his children. Right? When Akufo-Addo ceases to be president, we, the young people, will live with Akufo-Addo's children. I can assure you, as I said somewhere, any policeman that brutalizes citizens today, we will identify your children and your family, we will brutalize them tomorrow.
I'm not sure if the brutalization will be lawful, but what do you say to what
lawful brutalization?
And the law would require you to take a civil position on that to go.
Police did not act lawfully. You don't expect us to act lawfully.
Well, so that's Bernard Mona speaking to James Aveji earlier in the day when all of this started. But even as we speak now, the protesters are still right in front of the 37 Military Hospital, continuing with their protest. And as you see it right on the screens now, we're stationed there, bringing you up to speed of what's happening right now as far as that Occupy Julobee House protest is concerned. The leadership of the group, Oliver Barker-Vormawor, together with some members of the Fix the Country movement, pouring out in spite of the weather today and making that passionate appeal to the Ghana Police Service to clear the road for them to protest and to picket, perhaps, right in front of the Jubilee House. They intend to do that from now. What you see now, they'll do that from now until 9 p.m. tomorrow. It's part of a 3-day protest. We started yesterday, not on a good note, where some of them were picked up, including Oliver Barker-Vormawor himself. We understand that there is an update on the story coming through where we are getting some details that the Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Akufo-Dampare himself, has finally met with the leadership of the group. He is refuting claims that any of these protesters were perhaps attacked or manhandled by officers of the Ghana Police Service yesterday when they were picked up. He's in fact urging them to provide evidence of any form of assault. And that's why I want to bring in my colleague James Aveji, who's just returning from that meeting. James, you've monitored this engagement between the supposed to be leadership of the Fix the Country movement and the IGP.
Exactly,
correct?
exactly.
What's informing this meeting?
Yes, so Blessed, yesterday when all the back and forth happened, the communication was that the operation was actually carried out by the High Command of the Accra region. And so after everything, the IGP says that he was of the view that he needed to meet leadership of the protesters in order to hear from them and then have a conversation with them to see if the two sides can reach some level of compromise.
And in this meeting, we are learning for the very first time that the IGP is not necessarily supporting that widespread report we've seen, that indeed the police were not professional in the way they handled the protesters yesterday. What was his concern, and what's his message to leading figures of this group?
Exactly. So at the meeting, both one of the conveners, Benjamin Dako, as well as Bernard Bona was there, a former member of parliament for Bilsa North. Honorable Timothy Awinterim was also there, together with some two other persons, including one lawyer to the group, Samuel Alosu Doji. Those were the members of the leadership who met the IGP together with some top police hierarchy. And so, for instance, Benjamin raised a point about he himself, as well as some other members, being assaulted by the police while during the arrest, as well as when they were in detention. For instance, he mentions that he himself was actually punched by an officer on the chest. One of the members was slapped. Someone was also hit by a metal bar.
Yeah, and if there's anything to go by, the reason for which we believe he's making the claim, what you see now on the screens is possibly the reason why leadership of the group is saying, well, your individuals or your personnel were not professional. Look at Bridget Otu there in the picture.
Exactly.
And this is, I believe, is the reason for which they are making the claim.
Exactly. That and many other incidents was what they cited as assault from the police. But I mean, the IGP was of the view that indeed, if this has happened, they do not have that as part of their report. And so he would appreciate that if this indeed happened, then those involved, the victims, can lodge an official complaint. And he promised that if that official complaint is lodged, he would take a step further in that too. Initiate an investigation into it and get to a conclusive decision.
And this is the point. Just look at this officer attempting to even go to the extent of attacking the camera person who was filming. There he splashed water
at a point
on the camera there.
Exactly.
And in all of this, the police service is appearing to distance themselves from what we see there.
Yes, that's the view that officially, as part of their report, they do not have.
Okay, so what's the urge from the Inspector General of Police now?
And so, part of the meeting, apart from the complaint, was to arrive at a consensus on how this can be handled. We know that the original plan of the demonstrator or the protesters was to march from 37 Station to the Jubilee House. But that, as we speak, has still been truncated. And so the plea was that the leaders who were in that meeting goes back to meet the other leaders who are on the field with the protesters and negotiate with them if they can't come to a compromise to get off the street first, while the case that is in court is heard on the 26th, and then the court comes to a conclusion on the matter, then they can take it from there. And so by close of day, the police is expecting that, they will get a call from council to the protesters, to them to tell them what compromise they have reached. But they said they are hopeful that for the time being, they need to get off the street while they all come to the negotiation table. In fact, go to court on the issue in court to be dealt with. Then they can set a fresh date to carry out what they want to do. In fact, the police also was of the view that it is not in their interest to prevent anyone from carrying out lawful duty of protesting over any public or national issue. And so, but their interest is for us to, the public to do it and do it right within the confines of the law, so that their message can be carried out. And so, the leaders at the meeting have agreed to go back and meet the rest of the team.
But in all of this, the individuals are not getting off the streets right now because Oliver Barker-Vormawor himself, declined the invitation to personally be there and to meet the IGP. He's instead at 37 Military Hospital as we speak, where you have scores of protesters out there still in the rains, and they're still part of the protest as we speak. In fact, the last check we did indicates that they want to be there until 9 p.m. If that is anything to go by, then the IGP's call may not be heeded.
Yes, the police would just be hopeful that while they go back to engage them, I mean, by close of day, some compromise will be reached.
Just the question as to what will happen if they remain out there, and indeed they are out there, still going ahead with the protest.
What it will mean, in fact, if I should read carefully from the demeanor of the police, the IGP and the
other officers,
at that meeting, I am not too sure that the police would want to go the way they went yesterday. And so I'm pretty sure that, I mean, some communication has to happen between them and the leaders of the group. For instance, the issue about the Jubilee House being a security zone and why the police have decided to, prevent the protesters from accessing the Jubilee House. That issue came up, and the IGP was of the view that, in fact, the Jubilee House, as well as other places, public places that have been demarcated as security zones, must be respected because those are the faces of the country. He makes example of, if you go to the US, the Capitol, as well as the White House, and in fact, some perimeter is given that people cannot access. That is the face of the country. And so he was of the opinion that that need to be respected. And so, I mean, after the protesters get off the street, then we would know what happens thereafter as to whether the further negotiations would agree that even if a new date is set for the protest or the demonstration, they would access the Jubilee House or otherwise. And so I'm sure by close of day, we'll get some reactions from the leaders as to whether they agree on this or otherwise. And so, I mean, after the back and forth, the decision is that they go back, go and do the renegotiation.
Okay, and after this event, we're also learning, just as you've seen on the screens, that some journalists were reportedly attacked. Exactly. Some have spoken to us. We understand that also includes a reporter with the BBC. Media freedom and the respect for the press after yesterday's event. Has that come up? And is there any form of official communication from the Ghana Police Service on that?
That hasn't come up strongly in that meeting because, I mean, as the police were calling for evidence, in fact, after the meeting, when I met one of the members, he tells me that before we go into the meeting, no gadget was allowed into the meeting. And so he would have wanted to show the IGP some visuals or audio visuals of exactly what transpired on the grounds. And so the issue about media freedom hasn't come up at that meeting, in fact, blessed.
Okay, grateful, James Aveji, who's, of course, monitoring all of that for us. But let's get to Richard Kumado, who's joining us now via Zoom. He's been on with us ever since this whole event started. And Richard, the Inspector General of Police, as we understand, has finally broken his silence in a meeting with leadership of organizers of this Occupy Jubilee House protest. The charge from the IGP now is to get everyone off the streets, first of all, through the leading figures of this group. But he's also urging them to provide evidence if there's any form of attacks, assaults by police officers on, the protesters yesterday. But some say the evidence is out there. We've seen that on the screens. Why is the IGP asking for further evidence?
No, definitely. There might be misreporting or miscommunication, but thank God for Android phone and for iPhones, and thank God for internet. Thank God today, most of the police officers are in their body cams. And some of these things, reconciling them wouldn't be a problem at all. I think it is so clear that yesterday there was no authority for the police to act properly. Yesterday, the police instructive regime was wrongly communicated. Yesterday, the police did not command their men properly, and they went far above board. This is democracy. Right to demonstrate is part of it. Police protection is also part of it. Public safety guarantees are part of it. And I think emotional intelligence has to be something the police must take seriously, especially when we are dealing with public figures like journalists who we know, and public demonstrators like Bernard Mona and co, who we know so well. And we have to be tactful and ensure that the right things are done. So I will urge the demonstrators and the conveners to provide the IGP with the necessary video documentations and evidence needed.
Right. Richard, we need to go, but the final charge from the IGP is for the leadership of the Fix the Country movement to try and, get their members off the streets, for the court proceedings to be exhausted. Then, of course, a proper arrangement could be made for the protest. What do you think about that?
The IGP is wrong in the first place. He's acting like a politician in this particular case. So what they did in court was to file an application. The court did not tell them to stop the demonstrators. Yet the police service elite went on rampage and they acted as savages and bastardizing people, which is becoming one of many. For him to say that they should go back to the court on Monday, then his men should have waited for the court to give a direction in line with maintaining law and order. They have no law, they have no order to go beat up the demonstrators at the 37th police station. And I think that is awful, that is abhorrent, and that is one of the absurdity we witnessed yesterday. I can only wish him well, and I wish the demonstrators were, and I wish the police officers were. And
we continue to witness that they are still in the range there as we speak. It doesn't look like these protesters will be off the streets any moment from now, but we still wait to see if Oliver Barker-Vormawor himself, who was not in that meeting, will have this message officially delivered to him as we have received, and we'll see what he'll be instructing most of his followers to do. Thank you, Richard Kumado, for joining us here on The Pulse. Time now to talk politics. 2020 vice presidential candidate of the National Democratic Congress, Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman, is now dispelling rumors that former President John Dramani Mahama may be in search for a new party stalwart to, of course, partner him to run for the next general elections in 2024. Speaking on the sidelines of a Made in Nkrumah Mandela leadership conference, which was organized here in Accra, Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman described the latest jostling within the NDC as unnecessary.
I'll say that we've had an Nkrumah. We've had leaders in our communities. We've had leaders in our homes. We have leaders in the market. What's our excuse? Are we now going to search, for somebody with a third eye? We know what it takes. We know those who sacrificed. We know those who gave of themselves. We know those who gave without looking for reward. Who is stopping us from emulating them? You see, in life, I don't think it's about, in 1 year I get everything. It doesn't work like that. You'll be frustrated. Or you may do things that you'll be embarrassed if they were to come in public. Okay, because it doesn't work like that. Okay, it's one step at a time.
Prof, we are looking at two great leaders, Nkrumah and Mandela, at this leadership conference. John Dramani Mahama is being likened to our first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Do you feel that he possesses that kind of leadership quality?
It's not about that kind of comparison. What I respect about him is that he has a good heart. He cares. Otherwise, you see, for how long was he here? How many schools did he build? You answer me. How many hospitals? We have had the polytechnics forever. You know what it took to turn it into a technical university? Building 2 universities. I'm talking only of my sector. Building 2 harbors, building a new airport. Why don't you have the same now?
Ghana, as we know, is in search for a new leader. Going into the 2024 elections, are you available to serve as the running mate to John Dramani Mahama going into the 2024 elections?
I was in the ministry and I complimented his efforts. Or I wasn't. So why are you posing that question?
Well, there's a lot of controversies out there about it.
Forget about this unhelpful controversy. There's no controversy. The only controversy we need to talk about is the unemployment of our youth. That is the controversy that should bother us. We are just having distractions. It's about all the scandals going on. Why is that not controversial? You are worried about what controversy? It's just a distraction. We'll see when I get there.
What? We expect a new John Mahama.
Okay, thank you too.
What he did.
Well, excerpts of my interaction with the 2020 running mate of the NDC, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman. Joining us now is Dr. Asa Asante, who's a political scientist at the University of Ghana. And Doc, that lecture yesterday took place in the Great Hall of the University of Ghana, where, of course, the discussions on the table was about Nelson Mandela and the type of leadership that Dr. Kwame Nkrumah provided. You have your own thoughts about, the celebration yesterday, which we will talk about. But let's start off with the, issues of Ghana being in search of transformational leaders. We have Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman, who's finally commenting on jostlings within their party. Arguments that there may be a new running mate for the NDC going into the 2024 elections. She says it's pure distraction. That's how she's describing that.
Hello?
Yes, Doc, I hope you can hear me.
Yes, please, can you repeat the question?
So I was just pointing out, the very words of Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman, pointing out that it's distraction and a needless debate to have as to who may partner John Mahama going into the 2024 elections.
Oh, but that one, I think the professor said it all. It's needless because, it is the duty of the ex-president, former President Mahama, to select who will be the running mate. So we just have to be patient, and then we get the name of that person, and that is all. So there's nothing, strange or difficult about it. Yeah.
Questions as to what the opposition party should be doing at this moment in search of, the next set of leaders that will move them into the 2024 elections. What do you feel should be, informing the choice of John Dramani Mahama now going into the next elections?
Well, seriously, when you are looking for such a person, you are looking for somebody who has certain qualities to tie up with the president, that is a flag bearer. You need somebody who is competent, that can deliver what is expected of him or her. You need somebody who is popular, so that he can rake in the votes that you require. You need somebody who also have what it takes to rub shoulders with whoever will also become the running mate of the other political party, for instance, the MPP. And then you need somebody who has less baggage. Baggage in the sense that you are going to market the candidate. So if the person has a lot of baggage, he's going to have a problem with the party that want to sell the candidate. So you need somebody with less baggage to deal with it, to partner the flag bearer. And the last one is that you need somebody who is marketable, somebody that you can market easily and then will be able to help you. And then maybe the last one is that you need somebody who have what it takes to step into the shoes of the flag bearer when the flag bearer is not around or is incapacitated, or even the unfortunate incident of death. If it happens, you need somebody who quickly step in and then drive the ship to its final destination.
And of course, we'll be talking about this event that she was attending, which is the Mandela Nkrumah Leadership Conference, which is now pointing to the fact that Africa is in search, as we're learning from those who work at the Nkrumah Ideological Center, now pointing to us that Africa is in search for transformational leadership. You even have a challenge with the celebration that we did yesterday. We'll go into the details, but one more issue about, how party members should be handling the upcoming announcement that the former president, or now the NDC's presidential candidate, will be making soon. What do you expect the party to do as we await this announcement that will be made by John Dramani Mahama in terms of who the running mate will be going into the 2024 elections?
I feel that the party should not unnecessarily get themselves, wet up to be looking forward to whoever will be the running mate. It is important that the running mate will definitely have to come, but the person would definitely come. But they have to be patient. They don't need to put unnecessary pressure on the ex-president or the flag bearer of the NDC. And then must also get themselves ready that anybody that Mahama appoints, they are quickly accept the person and then decide and begin to work with the person straight away. So issue of, rank or bickering and noise about it should not be part of the thing that we are looking forward to. Once you get the person nominated, obviously the person would have gone through the mail within the party. So once it's the name is given and it's approved by the various constituencies, straight away they begin to work with the person and then hit the ground running.
And now to the celebration itself, the Nkrumah Mandela Leadership Conference, and it was part of the celebrations marking the birthday of Ghana's first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. You have your own opinion about the celebration itself, marking 21st September of each year as the day the first president was born.
Yes, if you listen to all that happening and we observe, there is no doubt that Nkrumah lived as a very important person. He lived way beyond his contemporaries. That is in my view. Nkrumah did a lot for Ghana, for Africa, and for the world to also know. Yes, if you look at Nkrumah's work that he did in this country, I tell you, even today, they are still relevant. Talk about the Akusumo Dam, talk about the Tema Township, talk about the harbors and the rest of them. But if you look at the day, the celebration that we talked about, and that Nkrumah's birthday is, was born in 1909, 21st September. Nkrumah himself, in his book, The Autobiography of Kwame Nkrumah, which was published, the last one was published, I think, in 1979 by PANAF. Nkrumah himself said that he was not sure of the exact date he was born, and that per his mother's calculation, he was born in 1912 after 45 Kundum festivals, right? If you follow the conversation in the book, he moves on to say that he was baptized after he was born by a Roman Catholic minister who gave his date of birth to be 21st and then 1909. And if you follow the book forward and you read, Nkrumah said that upon checking everything, it is clear to him that he was born in 1909, but not 21st September, but rather 18th. And permit me to read a few portions of the book so that you can get an inkling of what is there.
You would also have to equally share the title of this book you're referring to so everyone can follow us. Of course, later on they could...
Yeah, the book is The Autobiography of Kwame Nkrumah. The Autobiography of Kwame Nkrumah. And Nkrumah said that, and I quote him, that the national festival of Nzema is called Kundum. According to my mother's calculation, 45 Kundums have taken place since I was born, which makes the year of my birth 1912. On the other hand, the priest who later baptized me into the Roman Catholic Church recorded my birth date as 21st September 1909. Although this was a mere guess on his part, I have always used this date on official document, not so much because I believe in its accuracy, but insofar as officialdom was concerned, it was the line of least resistance. That is Kwame Nkrumah. The last paragraph that I will touch on is that my mother, Nkrumah, said that, yes, assuming, therefore, that the year of my birth was 1909, the Saturday nearest to the middle of September in that year was the 18th. It seems likely, therefore, that I was born on Saturday, 18th September 1909. So if you look at this, he's saying that even the year we're talking about, you are saying that he was born on Saturday. That Saturday, if you want to trace the date, then it should be the middle of September and it should be 18th, not 21 or 21st. So if you look at it, this is Nkrumah's own book, his autobiography. page 1, page 2. You can find this information there. So I was wondering why we are taking the 21st September as his date of birth, where he himself believed that it should have been 80.
Whatever be the case, that's what the history books are telling us. In fact, for those
that is what he is saying.
I get that. I get that clearly. I'm just pointing out the problem that many of us read that in school. I read that myself, and for many of us who've done political science and whatever it comes with, you are of course taught to accept that it's 21st. How do we deal with that curriculum challenge? The fact that it's ingrained in our history now. It's ingrained in our political history too.
History is how we have arrived here from where we come from. We make history, all right? So if this is what it is, obviously our records should reflect this, and then we should be able to state it properly. If we want to maintain that, there should be an explanation to that effect that this is what Nkrumah said, that yes, it is he used in officialdom, but obviously there is another information or explanatory note to that so that people will know the exact story, how it started, how it ended. I think the record must be set straight so that we can get this thing right.
And just by the way, we've not seen the family challenge this ever since.
Can challenge Kwame Nkrumah. He wrote, this is Nkrumah writing, not anybody, not any of his children, Samia or Sekou. Yeah. This is the father writing. So they have nothing to challenge. Yes, I will challenge them to challenge the president.
Such an interesting debate that's coming up, but interesting revelations there from the book that you're pointing out. We'll get that once more, and of course, for those who are interested, they might want to read that. The title again is
The Autobiography of Kwame Nkrumah. The Autobiography of Kwame Nkrumah. It was published by PANAF in various years, which include 1957. The last one was 1979. Kwame Nkrumah himself writing.
Indeed.
Yes.
If you are in that, just reach out to Dr. Asah-Asante. That's what he does. He's a political scientist at the University of Ghana, joining us with that interesting bit of history. Thank you all for staying with us here on The Pulse. When we get back, we'll tell you more about what's happening in this country.
Hello, my name is Abeku Agri Santana. If there's anything that makes my life so easy, it is my bank. I love hanging out with my boys at our usual fufu joint. But even without cash, we still dey chop better with EcoBank Mobile. No matter the time of day, my bank helps me stay in touch with my beautiful wife whenever she's away. And when my beautiful wife is in town, she never misses out on her favorite TV shows because I'm able to pay up all my TV subscriptions from the comfort of my mobile phone. Whenever she has to get groceries too, my bank makes it cashless and convenient. And the part my wife loves the most is when my bank makes it possible and easy for her to shop from any part of the world without moving.
Welcome to the smart world of EcoBank. Download EcoBank Mobile from Google Play Store or the App Store and discover the smart way to bank. EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
Daddy, this tank is big.
Yes, that's true.
It can store a lot of water.
That's so true.
Wow, it has a working tortoise on it.
That's so true.
I can see S-I-N-T-E-X. Syntax.
That is so true, my daughter.
When it falls down, it will spoil.
That's not true.
But why?
Hey! Syntex was the first to introduce double-layer tanks in Ghana. Syntex again was the first to introduce white inner layers in Ghana. Syntex gives you the biggest warranty, 7 years. No matter your water needs, Syntex is the answer. Syntex tank. Are you strong? Are you tough?
Smile, Look lively, okay? Smile. too small.
A bad stomach ruins your day. Don't let it. Take Gastron, your most effective antacid for the relief of symptoms of peptic ulcer, heartburn, gas pain, flatulence, and indigestion.
Hey guys, what are you waiting for? Let's go.
Mwah. Can you bring down the smiles more?
Gastron, effective relief from stomach discomfort. Manufactured and distributed by NS Chemist Limited. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the
Welcome to Tech TV.
We are outside again.
Hi, your food is here. AI is changing the world.
This technology has been in the lab for 15 years. Has solved the problem within 1 year.
It won't be long before we are living in this virtual universe.
Are you aware that e-games enables critical thinking?
Will I say conception that people hold that women are just not made for tech? And is this true or is just a fallacy? Yeah, women are not made for tech. Wow, really? And you're in tech?
The race is on to decarbonize the transport system with electric and solar-powered vehicles.
Tech is advancing so fast, it can be hard to keep up.
Tech TV is proudly brought to you by Liqui Moly, your #1 car products, and Yeelight, home of antique lights.
Be 8 years and 10 years, and I'm so my money be educated. My first born accountant, second nursing, third accountant. I want to enter me in the baby. I can't do him. In California, I so get one or to make a fear no to make us. And tell me the no daughter and I Minister, and I'm missing me. I can't education. Epe adrebia man na ho ede na wakasa
so me num nie ba be na ede ntino iti fia me nya hwe na me se e ba ha be kakra so ne be ya menya bibia tradiane me ne me ma dibi.
Oh, the heat. This is hard work. Stay tuned in. This is joy in my community. I am Sarah Mablade Souza.
Thanks for staying with us. The District Chief Executive Officer for the Elembele area, Kwesi Ponso, has denied allegations that he prevented Member of Parliament for the area, Emmanuel Amakofi-Boa, from fixing a deteriorating road stretch in the constituency. It follows a viral video where both the DC of the area and also Member of Parliament were seen in a heated exchange. More from him shortly. But first, here are some residents of Awiyabo, the community where the altercation happened, concerning the nature of the roads.
It's so bad. It's so bad. The road is here is so bad. When you pass here to Asase, hey, brother, you can't even cross a big crumple. The bridge over there has spoiled. You know the reason why. In Sima itself and Western region itself, we are suffering because of this party. Why? We are suffering because of this party. Why?
Hey, road no sense man dey onye easy. Ya blow pa. Sisi a baby am akofa koko e dey afiri no. Koko hu a obeka say aha yegui. Enye easy. Be ma ye bre. We no. Baby am akofa fi pa a dey buy no. Esa say kwan no say ebia kwan no da so anka ebo no be den. Ebo no be esobeti. But aba ne say no bibia e den. Yeso ye ho kire ye. Enti I hope some more no ebi amba be teki samayi bi se ne be ya mo bi be den e be free ebia mpanyfo no hoye den aba enti ekwan ne de yesra mo a mo nya yi na mo aba ye nchen de nim se ba o mi de bibia ebe na mo hwe ekwan na mo nya na se yempo na mo abetu ekwan we so na ye branka e free akọ no bi teku be ebia 10 minutes ansa na waju anyinase enti enye easy
we koko no akọ fa enti we ogisan
we ni say no baby e di free ba ko be 50 Ghana
back koko ba
ba ko be 50 Ghana yeah
into the woman saying
5 na mafa
which is
250 cities enye easy so na me fa no ho amede bae ma brepa na ma bedura me kwa no pa no se time ma BP no wa dey see ya no kurampo na opponent no bae na obaye no kurampo na ye mwanwa sa dentia na mu ye ho kire hwe ya fu moto ha ifiri ha ekono ho e ma no yen kurampo ya to enye easy adwuma ye enye se bia etumi sasa anka enye easy anka ye adwuma no ti enda this incident na happen in the kurampo na suicide me say e ba na san kurampo na me wo ha ma ga pa wa nya de se be panitu akolafo na akolan so ye de etu panifo na identity say e ba na sa so ho na obi abo anya adwe pa so ba be boa ya na wo be ka se bia jai si atese anka mo ye se mo kama adwuma de ebom anu ti na de bia ho kire no ama se si ano se aban bi ba kurampo na so be ya de na se bia ofiri so a foforo ba na wa de waja no ho aba ya say sika sem nyina ba de be ba sa ebu man so entesa so ho.
Well, the district chief executive for the area, Kwesi Bonso, has denied all of these allegations, and we will continue to monitor his comments as he is, of course, describing all of that as an erroneous impression being created by the MP, claiming that he's the one preventing the road from being fixed, and we'll get you updates as and when we have it. But for now, the Ministry of Health says that it will provide the needed infrastructure at the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital to enable the hospital to continue offering quality and accessible healthcare to the public. Speaking at a Grand Deba to mark the 25th anniversary celebration of the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital, Deputy Health Minister Tina Mensah assured the government is committed to providing quality and affordable healthcare.
The Cape Coast Teaching Hospital, known as in Tibetan, has silently served as a guardian of health for a quarter of a century. 25 years ago, the foundations of the facility were laid. The vision was simple yet profound, to bring accessible quality health care to the people of Cape Coast and beyond. Deputy Minister of Health, Tina Mensah, says the government is committed to supporting Ghana's healthcare system.
The government will continue to put in place measures and strategies to address these challenges. 25 years in the life of this facility is worth celebrating because it gives one an opportunity and a reason to reflect on activities over the past years, as well as refocus on interventions essential in sustaining or always ensuring excellence. I am reliably informed that this hospital has constantly scored excellent in periodic hospital peer reviews. Please keep it up.
Central Regional Minister Justina Marigodasan was upbeat about the infrastructural and equipment support the government was offering to the hospital.
For instance, in furtherance to improving the management of infectious diseases and future pandemics, the government, in collaboration with the World Bank, have constructed a number of infectious disease centers across the country for which the Central Region was not left out. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the priority of His Excellency, the President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, to ensure that all people living in the country receive the best of health care. Hospitals across the country have been retooled with the needed equipment to enhance service delivery. In fact, It is gratifying to note that now the no-bed syndrome, which used to be a major setback in the health sector, has been adequately dealt with, owing to strategic management and government of Ghana's health care initiatives and programs across the country. One major stride by His Excellency the President to improve health infrastructure across the country is the Agenda 111 projects. Here in the Central Region, 8 of these projects is ongoing.
Chief Executive Officer of the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital, Dr. Eric Kofi-Njedu, says the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital's journey has been a remarkable one. He says it's been more than just a hospital. It's a beacon of hope, a symbol of resilience, a testament to the power of collective determination. He indicates in spite of the challenges the hospital has been grappling with, it has brought smiles to the faces of many patients.
Today I wish to inform you that all these challenges have received major attention from the board and management, and progress has been made. Nana Chairman, the hospital is currently implementing its second 5-year medium-term strategic plan that spans between 2021 and 2025. Consequently, the continuous referencing of this document in our annual planning process and with the guidance of the board, there has been consistent improvement in the service delivery in general of the hospital. There has also been expansion in the area of collaboration, infrastructure, equipment, and human resource mix. However, there are still gaps to be filled to ensure CCTH operates fully as a teaching hospital, and we will continue to work assiduously to bridge these gaps to achieve the vision of the hospital. Nana Chairman, our appeal. Moving into the future, we will continue to appeal to Government of Ghana, Corporate Ghana for the replacement of obsolete and aged critical equipment, as well as the provision of the needed equipment and infrastructure to help improve on our services.
As the hospital embarks on its next 25 years, there is a renewed hope and commitment that the heart of healing will continue to be strong, shaping the future of healthcare in Cape Coast and beyond. Richard Kwejenyako for Joy News.
And now, former Auditor General Daniel Yaw-Domelefu is throwing his weight behind calls for the removal of the Finance Minister and also the Governor of the Central Bank. The two managers of the economy have come under intense pressure for the current state of the country, with many demanding their sack. Speaking to Raymond Akwana up front, the former Auditor General insisted that they should leave office to restore confidence in the economy.
As it is now, if you are a friend of the government, then you can do anything. And you can be sure that you will get away with it. But if we do that, then no one is safe, isn't it? Because once I'm taking my enemy to, my enemies are also taking me to the place. So we all have to be careful. So I call for commercialization of the fight against corruption. We should amend the law just as
At the Asogle's corruption lectures over the weekend, as you see in your pictures there, where he was pointing out a number of issues and also calling and making some recommendations on how we could be moving forward as a country when it comes to the fight against corruption. Our top story for you is that the Fix the Country movement is proceeding with the planned Occupy Julloby House protest, as they are terming it, defying the rains today and still remaining out there on the streets somewhere around 37 Military Hospital, where we understand that protest is still underway as the rush hour kicks in. Let's check out what the situation is. As we understand, there's a heavy traffic situation on that stretch now. But of course, latest images we're bringing to you now indicates that that protest is still underway with scores of protesters on the screens right now as you see it. Many of them defying the rains and the downpour this afternoon and still pouring out and making that passionate appeal to the Ghana Police Service to clear off the road and to permit protesters to march closer to Jubilee House. Of course, many of them, the security forces, had cordoned off the stretch, preventing protesters from moving right into the area, which is much more closer to Jubilee House, and we'll be getting some updates for you shortly as our man on the ground, Maxwell Abuba, will be getting as the very latest from the grounds. But Ghana has made another significant stride in the deployment and use of cutting-edge technology to guarantee a more sustainable and an environmentally free and sound exploitation and use of our natural resources with the commissioning of the Intrec Minerals Photo-Assay Lab in Takwa in the Western region. The Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources in charge of mining, George Duka, who launched the project, reiterated the innovation in the mining industry, which plays a crucial role in improving the sector.
Intertech Minerals driving innovation and technology through the mineral supply chain has announced the integration of advanced photon assay technology into its laboratory to elevate gold industry support in West Africa. The Deputy Minister of Lands and Natural Resources in charge of mining, George Mrikuduka, said the mining industry is going through a digital transformation industry and will continue to do so, and the process could change how mining is done, transition from human-run operation to autonomous or semi-autonomous remote control mines.
The mining industry is going through a digital transformation process, which is already impacting the industry and will continue to do so. This process could change how mining is done, transitioning from human-run operations to autonomous and semi-autonomous remote controlled mines. A functional mining industry, therefore, requires an equally functional assay laboratory service at all stages of the mineral value chain for resource estimation or optimization studies to mine site rehabilitation after closure. Ladies and gentlemen, because of the potential capital-intensive and risky nature of the mining industry, optimization costs, controlling, innovation, and resilience are required as pillars of mining development strategies along its entire value chain.
The Acting Director General of the Ghana Geological Service Authority, Isaac Kutan Winbell, assures Intertech Minerals and all other laboratories in the mining value chain of the authority's continued support in issuance of geological sample permits for country inbound and outgoing geological materials for the purpose of laboratory analysis.
Back to the streets where that protest is underway. Joy News is bringing you that special coverage of this Occupy Jubilee House protest as Fix the Country has termed it. Of course, yesterday wasn't so smooth, but today the protesters defying the rains and still moving out there in their numbers to protest. Now it's rush hour. Let's check out what the situation is right now around 37 Military Hospital, where my colleague Maxwell Abuba is joining us live from. Maxwell, take us away. What can you report? And we understand that the traffic is setting in really huge today.
The last 3
reconnecting with Maxwell shortly, and of course getting him to give us a feel of what's happening as we speak. But he is on the grounds for us now. The rains have, subsided a bit, so allowing us to, get a true picture of what the situation is. Maxwell, let's get back to Maxwell then.
It's heavy traffic that is building up here, of course, as the rush hour sets in. But we have police personnel from the MTTD who are stationed here, making sure they direct the traffic. This entire stretch in front of the Jubilee House is It's more than 50 police officers, all of them in route control gear, who are standing there wearing helmets. The protesters.
We seem to be having a challenge connecting with my colleague Maxwell Awegba, who's of course out there. Well, the beauty of technology it is. But we'll definitely keep our eyes there and bring you some updates in our subsequent bulletins coming up in the next few hours. This is the polls. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. That's all we have for you in the package. Log on to myjoyonline.com. Also on Facebook, it's at Joy News. You'll see the very latest pictures we have from that protest underway. And I will see you again next. It's Let's Talk Showbiz. Thanks for your time. Bye-bye.